millions of shillings is Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital, which has now dismissed claims that SHA sent 20 million to a non-existent Homa Bay facility. The hospital's management has explained that the money was sent to its account under the old name Nyandiwa Dispensary. The facility said it was the rightful recipient of the money from the Social Health Authority. Now, Frederick Owino, the medical officer in charge of the hospital, said the institution operates under a bank account named Nyandiwa Dispensary, and that the name remained unchanged even after the facility was elevated to Level 4 Hospital in 2022, creating room for confusion.
Yeah, I can confirm and certain that we receive money from SHA. The last payment of August, we received around 20 million and some hundreds. I cannot equate it full because maybe my accountant will be able to tell me the figures, but I'm sure that we receive over 20 million since August up to now.
On Friday, nilikuwa mgonjwa sana na nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu leo nimepata nafuu, naweza tembea njua. Na wakati nilikuwa hapo kwa ward, sijababaisha sana kwa sababu nilikuwa na SHA. Nilipouliza daktari hiyo SHA inaweza tumika, alikubali na nilifurahia. Aliniambia sitalipa chochote na SHA ita-cover.
You know, so that you can know that, this thing stings from here to the high heavens, is the fact that one of the main officials of SHA, his hospital received around 50 million. He says he had sold his shares in the hospital, so he's no longer the majority shareholder, but he's still a shareholder. He received 50 million. If you look at the hospital, there's no way it could have received that kind of money. Absolutely. There's no way it could have treated that number of people for it to be able to receive 50 million shillings from SHA. I mean, it got more money than some of the major referral hospitals in Kenya. Yet, it is a hospital somewhere in Wajir. Mnatuchezea game. Anyway, more university striking lecturers have rejected an offer by the university's council saying it does not meet their demands. Now, addressing the press, WASU Eldoret Branch Secretary General Busolo Awekesa said they had been negotiating with the employer since Thursday last week, but have rejected their offer. The lecturers went on strike on the 20th of August over the return to work formula signed with the University Council on the 30th of November 2024.
Kazi hawana medical scheme. Hiyo iko kwa terms of service, wakati mnaajiriwa unapewa medical scheme ili ukiwa mgonjwa, familia yako wakiwa wagonjwa watapata matibabu. Uuliza wenye wanauliza kwamba tunafanya mgomo wakati wanafunzi wamekuja, tuambie mnataka tufanye mgomo lini?
So we had an agreement between ourselves and the relevant government organs. We are perturbed that up to now, no one has bothered to respect that agreement.
Mkiangalia vizuri, serikali ulipa walimu wa primary schools na secondary schools na colleges. Serikali ulipa walimu directly from the exchequer. Alafu serikali utuma capitation kwa mashule ili iweze kufanya operations na kulipa support staff. Lakini kwa chuo kikuu serikali imekataa kulipa walimu directly.
Okay, dokes. Now, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, John Mbadi, has given an ultimatum to accounting officers in ministries and state departments to onboard e-procurement systems. Mbadi, who was speaking during the launch of the budget preparation for the financial year 2026-2027, noted that over 200 billion shillings could be unlocked through the efficient procurement in government. The Treasury CS warns that government must find alternative ways to sustain itself, owing to the shrinking fiscal space.
You'll remember that in 2022, we had inflation rate at an unimaginable percentages, 9.6%. Yesterday, I saw someone write that inflation has gone down because we rebased our economy. I remember when we rebased our economy last, was several years back. And we haven't rebased our economy since that time. So these are likes for likes. So 9.6 has come down to 4.1. To me, clearly, that also reflects a reduction in cost of living. Because Chris gave you figures and analysis, and we have them. The cost of the basic commodities in 2023 and 2025. But even if you go back to 2022, it was even worse. So coming from 2022, end of 2022 to 2023, most of the basic commodities coming to 2025 their prices have gone down. From the basic, which is the maize flour, fuel, sugar, we have the data. Cost of living is not determined in political rallies. Cost of living will not be determined in churches. Cost of living is determined by real data collected, collated, and disseminated. And the data is there. If the cost of a 2 kilogram packet of maize flour was 218 in 2022, you cannot change it to 105. And if it is today 176 or 184, you cannot change it to 100. So these are real data. That is the cost of living. Cost of living is about cost of basic commodities. And the statistics are there. And I don't think there is anyone who can dispute that. And if you want to know that that is the reality, early 2023, when we really felt that the cost of basic commodities could not be afforded by ordinary people, we had sufurias on our heads.
All right, definitely needs to happen. At least the e-system, unless, again, we encounter the same thing that we have encountered in e-citizen. The e-system is the best way to avoid human-to-human contact and, exchanging of cash. And that would work, because if you look at the e-citizen system, you can do things from wherever you are. If corruption takes place, it takes place in the back end, not the front end. And it's a great system. Meanwhile, President William Ruto has officially proclaimed August 27th as Katiba Day, an annual event to commemorate the promulgation of Kenya's 2010 Constitution. Now, in a proclamation dated the 25th, Ruto said the day will be observed every year to remind Kenyans of their duty to uphold, protect, and implement the Constitution. The first observance will be on the 27th, marking the 15th anniversary of the Constitution. Katiba Day will be marked across Kenya and at all diplomatic missions abroad. It will serve as a national occasion to reflect on the constitutional governance and aspirations of a just, equitable, and prosperous nation. The president said the Katiba Day will remain a working day. It's a funny thing. Oh my goodness. There are quite a number of people who had thought it was going to be a holiday. They had already booked their days off and stuff. But mark you, it's going to be a working day. So when the officini asubuhi. Sawa, Alan. Now, AMREF flying doctors personnel who perished in a recent aircraft crash have been honored in a solemn memorial service that paid tribute to their dedication and selfless service in saving lives. The crew was on a humanitarian mission to evacuate a 2-year-old child from Somalia when their aircraft went down in Mwehoko area of Kiambu County. The memorial commemorated the lives of Captain Muthuka Munuve, Captain Brian Kimani, Dr. Charles Njoroge, and Nurse Jane Omusula, all of whom were remembered for their unwavering commitment to medical emergency response. Also honored were James Getao and Yvonne Nasimiu, members of the Mwehoko community who perished during the crash.
God, the past 18 days have been the darkest of our lives. Each of us has felt the loss differently. To some, Munuve was a kind stranger. To others, he was a loyal friend, a dependable neighbor, a cherished relative, or a loving colleague.
As a family, we mourn Brao deeply. Yet in this pain, we have discovered something about ourselves. How strong we are together, how much closer we have become, and how intentional we have grown in showing love.
Though the heroes who are all here, who made the ultimate sacrifice in service of others, are not here to see this day today, we can all, the families especially, their mothers, their fathers, their children, and those grandchildren and others who will come after, know that we are very, very proud of them.
Out of all God's gifts, the gift of life is the greatest, okay? So we have to celebrate the time they were here with us.
Well, that was such an unfortunate incident. I mean, they were going to rescue a child in Somalia, to evacuate a child due to a medical emergency. And then the plane went down and they perished, or rather they lost their lives. I would like to, you know, death is inevitable in this sense that one day you will close your eyes and they say cold will come to your body because you will leave your body. And when you leave your body, or this husk that you live in, the first thing that happens to you or to the husk that you're living in is that it becomes cold. So there will be a cold brow on you as you leave after you've left your body. But that will not be the end. For those who've made a decision for Jesus, and I'm bold saying this, for those who've made a decision for Jesus, when you leave your body, you meet the Savior and you go home to where you belong. And that's the reason why it's very important to make that decision for Christ. I know it's news, but I am one person who believes that Jesus is coming back very, 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 very soon. And so my passion is to get people to know that he's coming back very soon, and you need to make your ways right with him. Settle all the accounts. Settle all the accounts you have with him. The beauty is that Jesus settled your accounts. He became sin for you. He took your sins and he was punished for them, so that if you believe in him, you don't get punished for the sins that you've committed. And you ask him to come into your heart. We're just asking him, you know, you tell him, I believe that you're Lord, and I believe that you died for me, and I ask you to come into my heart. And when you do that, something changes in your life, and you become a new creation, brand new creation. And that's how you get to go to heaven when Jesus comes. So death is so final. Are you ready for it? Now, residents of Jambi Road and Tirikwa villages in Kangema, Murang'a County can now breathe a sigh of relief as electricity has been installed in their homes. The electrification project was launched by Energy Principal Secretary Alex Washira, who assured residents that the ministry has allocated 1.2 million shillings to ensure more homes in Murang'a are connected to the national grid. Out of 16 million households in the country, 4.8 million are still without electricity.
Jabi Road. Na sasa area hii hata tumeshukuru sana stima. Shauri ya vile kulikuwa na giza, kulikuwa na mashida nyingi. Watoto hata wasomi wanasumbuka na nini na stima, taa mafuta imeisha, labda hata kuna kuni. Shida mingi ndio tunapata hapa, lakini sasa hii tunashukuru sana kwa vile kumebadilika.
Tumeshukuru sana kwa hii serikali yetu ya William Ruto, wametusaidia sana kutuletea stima. Tulikuwa miaka mingi tumekaa kwa giza. Sasa tunasema asanti juu tumeng'ang'ana sana ndio tupate stima. Tulikuwa tunapitia mambo mingi baya, kukua saa ingine hakuna mafuta ya taa, tunang'ang'ana watoto wakisoma, saa ingine hatuna hata nini kwa kijiji hakuna nini, yani security iko baya juu hakuna stima. Sasa tuko wapoa, kuna hizo vitu zote.
Hii ni program ambayo tuna run across the entire country. Umeona tukizindua miradi kule Nyeri, Meru, everywhere in Kenya, including Kosap, mahali unaona tukienda kule Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Program kule Northeastern, kwa sababu we are leaving no one behind. That is the main drive, na President William Samoei Ruto amejitahidi na ametueleza ya kwamba ile vision 2030 ambayo tunatarajia kusaidia Wakenya wote wapate stima by 2030, tuko kwa hiyo mradi.
Stolen. There was a plot to steal 10 billion, digital system. And you know what? I remember a conversation that was going on in Parliament concerning this system. The people who are running the 1.4 digital system, they are paid on a daily basis. You know, the money that goes through the system, they are paid on a daily basis. The hospitals, if you can remember some time back, there was a headline that the phantom hospitals got paid while the real hospitals that have need were never paid. So the people running this system are the ones who are benefiting the most instead of the patients. Because now they are paid on a daily basis from the system, on a daily basis, meaning like when today the system or the government does not owe them anything, it owes them for what will come in today. They are paid on a daily basis. And you're talking about millions of shillings. And Health CS Aiden Duale has revealed the conspiracy to steal from the Social Health Authority, saying authorities had blocked 10 billion bogus claims by corrupt hospitals, which raises queries on the scale of potential undetected looting. There's been looting in this. As I said earlier, if you checked some of our stories, there's a hospital in Wajir that is said to have been, was initially owned. The greater shareholding, the person who held the biggest share was the Shah CEO, and that hospital was also paid. So there's kuna maneno tu chafu hapo. Anyway, the Aga Khan landed in the country yesterday. Now this is what I call when you see what the Bible says, money answers all things. And it also says that the wisdom of a poor person is not taken seriously. The head of the Aga Khan jets into the country, and who receives him? It is Musalia Mudavadi, because the Aga Khan control a huge percentage of the country's economy. Now, if we as a church fought to work as one, I'm talking about the Church of Jesus Christ too, thought to work as one, whereby we control, we'll build one another and we control a sizable part of the economy, the government would listen to what we are saying. But unfortunately, tunafanyanga vitu kivyetu vyetu, and so, yeah, you land and nobody, even the officials at the airport, know that you came. Capitation to be disbursed by the end of the week. That's what the ministry is saying. Then you have the scam that is going on. Actually, it's not the CEO of SHA, it's the chairperson of the authority, of the Social Health Authority. His name is Abdi Mohammed. Abdi Mohammed. He's the one who had said, he now doesn't own the largest shareholding in that hospital. By saying he doesn't hold the largest, it means he still holds some shares in the hospital that received 50 million. And if you look at that hospital, hivyo ndio pesa inaenda. Relief for UHC medics as state confirms jobs. Then colonial relic that survived old constitution thrives in new one. That's the provincial administration. Farms struggle to clinch state tenders despite AGPO quotas. Soma tu hizi story. Kenyans feel betrayed on budget making. Senegal play Morocco. Sudan tackle Madagascar in semis. We beat Madagascar. Tulinyang'anywa hiyo goal. But we beat them. But aidhuru, no problem, no problem. Pensions jackpot. Judges edge closer as politicians queue. Then you got draft law gives lifetime medical cover. Lifetime medical cover. Diplomatic passport for judges. Hey, you know what? Some time back I was saying I'm in the wrong profession. I would have been in football. Now I think the best one is judges. Number one, you're given a lifetime medical cover, meaning you will be covered medically for the rest of your life until you kick the bucket. And then you'll have a diplomatic passport. Hey. Wasted decade. Court frees man jailed for wife's murder. Convictions rested on circumstantial evidence and disputed post-mortem. As in, a guy has been in prison for 10 years for killing his wife. Then, at least justice was served. It's discovered he didn't. 10 years. Judges edge closer to pension jackpot as politicians queue. These politicians are also looking for the same. They will be given a lifetime medical cover. I hope they don't say diplomatic passports, because we've seen members of parliament behaving interestingly. Okay? The back page of the Star. Keep the roar alive. KCB coach Matano wants fans to spill Chan passion into Kenyan Premiership. Chezeni ball bada. Then what do we got in the standards? At least you can put the standard on, they see. SHA ripoff. That's what it's screaming. In an unprecedented turn, less than a year after the Social Health Authority started paying claims by hospitals for services rendered in the footsteps of the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, the process has sparked public outrage. Little-known hospitals associated with senior government officials have been paid huge amounts, ranging in millions of millions, but not commensurate with the services they offer. And it has a good picture. The standard is so bold, I must say. When it's giving this, it highlights the people involved, including the gentleman I've told you, Abdi Mohammed, the co-founder and former Ladman Hospital CEO, currently the chair of SHA. And the CS has come to his defense. He says Social Health Authority Chairman Abdi Mohammed used to own Ladnan Hospital, but he no longer owns it. There's no conflict of interest. Really? Investigations should have been done before. But they say hit a dog and see the master. Gloom at 15, 2010 Constitution on trial. If there's a constitution that has been ripped, it has to be this one. We are supposed to be celebrating, the Constitution tomorrow, and we'll do that. But how have we treated that Constitution? It's like a man or a couple celebrating their 15th anniversary. But boy, that marriage has been a marriage where each other wanapigana kila siku. They have survived murdering one another, wamedungana visu, and then tomorrow they will say, oh honey, without you, I could not have been able to come this far. Outrage. But we have a good constitution. It's only that the implementers of the constitution are the ones that don't want to implement it. But we have a pretty good constitution. Parents forced to shoulder burden as state delays capitation funds. Then we have SHA promised quality medical care, but it bleeds taxpayers' funds. And as it bleeds our funds, what is happening is that there are people who are smiling all the way to the bank. And then you have a story here, Kenya Kwanza's dangerous dance with the law, power and impunity. Then Kangata. Kangata has been so quiet, but huku chini chini there are manenos happening. Ex-driver sues Kangata over name misuse in Senate petition. Yani Kangata, who is my governor, Murang'a, literally, allegedly, not literally, allegedly benefited from the compensation of the KQ aircraft that crashed, not KQ, it's Air Ethiopian aircraft that crashed, the Boeing that crashed, killing everybody on board, including quite a number of Kenyans. According to this case, he used the name of his driver in a report that was presented in the Senate as one of the beneficiaries. And he's the one who benefited. And that guy is still alive. It's alleged that guy died or was injured actually died, because there's no way he could have survived. Everybody in that plane died. So the guy is in court. Oi, Kangata. Teen gangs unleash wave of violence in Nairobi's Eastlands. Asiyefunzwa na mamake, unajua vile wanasema Waswahili. Sisi Waswahili tunasema usipofunzwa na mamako, dunia hii tutakufunza sisi. Shasikia? Tutakufunza. Crane star Okello coy on AFC Leopards' interest. The Ugandan Premier League Golden Boot winner has been one of the brightest sparks of 2024 Chan. His contract with the Ugandan champions Vipers expires in June 2026. They want to bring him to AFC Leopards. So this Shah thing, it's something we need to hold our leaders accountable for. We cannot have people being paid monies that are supposed to take care of people in the hospitals, and then people just fill their pockets with the money that are supposed. There are people who are, guys, there are people who are dying because they are unable to access health care. Yet you have connived with some officials and money is coming to you claiming that you've treated the people. You know, it's an unfortunate thing because people are losing their loved ones. And let me tell you this, and you can take this to the bank. You will pay for it here on earth. Let me give you a story. And this is a live story. I have a friend, I will not tell you his name. This guy used to work in a children's home when he was young. When he was younger and probably not very bright. He worked in a children's home that was owned by this guy. I don't know whether he was a pastor or he was a guy who owned that children's home. But unfortunately, he used to receive money from, donors, and he would use the money, instead of helping the children, he would use the money on himself. And the staff. I mean, all the people were paid using all that stolen money. And they enriched themselves. This guy, this friend of mine, was also part of the crew. Not part of the crew that was enriching itself corruptly, but he was being paid using that money. Today, I was speaking to the guy a couple of months back, and he told me every person who touched that money, from the owner of the institution to the subordinate staff, all of them are now 6 feet under. All of them, everybody who worked in that institution. He himself, he left the place. I think light came to him, he realized this is not right. He left the institution. He's been fighting cancer for a long time, and God has healed him. He is the only survivor from that institution. Because the CEO, the directors, all of them had started, and it was the worst kept secret in the institution that the money that was coming from the donors was being used by the directors to enrich themselves and the people around them, and that's the money that was being paid to the guys. And so from the head of the organization to the very subordinate staff, this guy is the only one who's still alive today, and it's because he left. Every other person is under. God says he is the father to the orphans. So ukiendelea kuiba tu your pesa, you'd know what is going to come. You'll have things happening to you that you have no idea. But there's a woman, a 60-year-old, 70-year-old woman, or even young people who have been denied access to health care. And they can watch their mother's life or their father's life slipping away from their hands simply because some guy stole money from Shah, claiming that he had provided services in hospitals, and he never did, and na amekula hiyo pesa. Wacha tutakaa hapa hivi kama spectators as we watch what happens to you. I promise you. I promise you. Anyway, with that, we bring the curtains down on the show. Do have yourself a lovely morning. Remember that at 9 we're going to have Your Faith today, all right? Some great inspirational music plus teaching of the word. That's at 9. And then Manukato will come in at 2 p.m. Got a lot of stuff that is happening today, all right? Good morning.